We're going live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Unlock Tuesday live stream. I am here every single week without fail to help you guys learn everything you can about buying and managing long-term rental properties. So our topic today is super open-ended. This is absolutely one of my favorites because I get to answer what is important to you. So we have an Ask Me Anything segment here for a full half hour, whatever you guys have. We have some pre-submitted questions. You can ask questions in the comments. So if you're watching this live on Facebook, please grant StreamYard permission to see the name. So I can see your name. Otherwise, it just says Facebook user, and that's not super helpful. So I want to know who we're talking to. I want to know who's out there watching. If you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and ask your questions. Obviously, I can't answer it live, but we'll answer it in the comments. If you are, oh, Maria, here we go. If you are watching on YouTube, live or replay, go ahead and make a comment and we will get your question answered. So anything is on the table. So from mindset, construction to financing. I know a lot of people have questions about financing, strategy, really anything that you can think of. So if you guys have not met Maria yet, go back and watch her live stream with Megan. Her and Megan came on and were telling us all about their experience in the 90-day challenge and how they bought their first, not one, but 2 or 3 rental properties. So Maria, I will absolutely have coffee with you. You hear that?
Wow.
It's happening, Maria. You hear that?
She doesn't even have coffee with me.
I did get a sushi. That's better. So if you guys don't know Lizzie, say hi.
Hi.
She's Lizzie is our full-time student success manager, is here to help me. I would not be able to function without Lizzie. So always here, and always, if y'all have any questions, she may be one of the ones who helps. So let's get to it. You guys start throwing your questions into the comments. We do have some that came in on the Facebook group, so I'll hit those first. Let me pull that up. How's everyone doing? Did you guys like the eclipse?
So cool.
It was so freaking cool. It was so good. I was like far more emotional than I thought I would be. I was like, oh yeah, whatever. It's going to get dark for a few minutes. No, it was incredible. Okay, events. We have a question first from, I think Neil asked a question. Lizzie, I can't find that. Do you know how to find that?
Neil asked a question in the Facebook?
Yes.
Yeah, I can pull it up.
Y'all let me know in the comments how you're doing, where you're watching from.
Ooh, Larson Kelly asked if you can do the Burr method long distance.
Ooh, can you do the Burr method long distance? Yes, that is a fantastic question. You can do the Burr method anywhere that makes sense, where the new mortgage on the refi will be supported by market rent. So you do not physically have to be present. There is a huge element of team building, whether you are investing in your own backyard or investing across the nation. So as long as you have a team and as long as the numbers work, you absolutely can Burr from anywhere. So yes. And if you're watching, who asked that?
That was Larson Kelly, I believe.
Larson, if you're here, then let us know where you're thinking of investing, and I can chime in a little bit more on that. So if you are thinking of Central Ohio and you don't live here, this community is fantastic, and there are tons of resources, tons of team building that you can tap into. All right. And then Neil asked for a cash out refi option. How does a lender factor in traditional long-term rental lease versus a midterm or short-term that may not have a traditional lease? That's a great question. So typically, they're going to be two different lenders. There are lenders who specialize in short and midterm, and they underwrite with different qualifications than either a DSCR or a Fannie Freddie loan would underwrite, because the rental income is different, right? And that's how banks are protected. So if you are wanting to, exit into a short term or midterm, you can burr into, you don't have to do long term for a burr, right? You don't have to exit as a long term rental, which is really what we do. You can exit into a midterm or a short term Airbnb example. So as long as you're speaking to the right lenders and you're plugging those numbers into your underwriting, then really the process works similarly. Now, of course, on short term, you're going to have more costs because you have to furnish it. You have to take into account that you as the owner are paying for utilities versus your resident. So there's just some like small extra costs on underwriting, but your lender would be the one to kind of set those qualifications. Cool.
Cool.
Thank you for your question. Yes, let us know where you're thinking of investing.
Maria asked, "How did you decide on your buy box?"
Ooh, how did I decide on my buy box? You can. Oh, did you do it?
Yep, we both did it.
There you go. How did I decide on my buy box? So, can you invest anywhere in the United States? Absolutely. I personally prefer investing in my own backyard. So, I grew up in Austin, Texas. If you guys don't know my story, I lived there, from birth till 28. So that's really the market I knew. And it's the market that I saw and I watched grow up kind of with me. But I got priced out in Austin. So I ended up in Columbus about 7 years ago, and it was not necessarily planned. I moved here for a job, but of course, in my consideration for do we move here, I was looking at the real estate. I knew that I liked real estate from Austin. I knew that I couldn't really afford to buy there anymore. So I was looking at Columbus real estate, knowing that I really like investing in my own market. So moved here. We are in the affordable housing space, which means that I am focused in specific neighborhoods. We'll buy a deal anywhere, but for the most part, if rent is deemed, affordable based on the standards for Franklin County or for that region, and it changes every year, right? Rents go up even, and ideally along with income, but we're not. That's a different topic. So as long as rents are going up to support the purchase price and values are going up, then those are the kind of markets that we're looking at. I'm not buying gigantic houses. I'm buying things that are very congruent, meaning that the neighborhood looks the same. So a lot of 2-bed, 1-baths, a lot of 3-2s. As long as that housing style is similar to what's around it, then that's a neighborhood I'm comfortable in. If the rent is in the affordable housing space, then we're comfortable there. So it depends really on your own preference, but mine was that this is what I find comfortable, and everyone likes all different things. You have different risk threshold, different financial situation. So Maria, if you're here, let us know in the comments how you determined your buy box. Definitely curious. It's different for everyone. It's definitely like a personal thing, and you want it to make money. So then we have Megan ask, she knows it's a personal decision, but do we ever leave money in a deal? Yes. Where we're buying in Central Ohio, I just kind of went over my buy box a little bit, but our developing neighborhoods specifically are very competitive. There's a lot of investors coming in. So prices are being driven up. That is a fact. We do not skimp on a renovation. So I am always focused on function. I'm always focused on safety. Of course, we underwrite with the best knowledge that we have, but sometimes you get behind a wall or you uncover something that you couldn't see during the walkthrough. So even if that happens, I'm going to do everything I can to keep the property. And that's because we're looking at real estate with a long-term view. That is how you get wealthy and not rich, is holding long-term. So even if I have to leave some money in a deal, and what do you consider some money? So it started when I first started, I had to do the perfect BRRRR or a cash out refi because I just didn't really have the capital to leave in place, like in a deal. We're in a different position now. So I'm comfortable 15, really up to 20 in my most desirable neighborhoods. And that is money that we would leave in the deal today. So let me step back for a second and explain, like, when we say leave money in a deal, what does that mean? If you're new here, we do the BRRRR method. So it stands for buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. And the idea is that you purchase the property under market value and it has enough room as far as the condition goes to add value. So maybe we buy something for 75, we put 25 into it, so we're at 100, and say 5K holding closing cost. So we're all in for 105. It took me $105,000 to get from a property that needed a lot of work to something that's move-in ready. We call that you're all in. So then I take this new asset, I get it rented, right, at market rate. It's a nice property. Function, safety items are all taken care of. So I take it to a bank and I get it refinanced. So that's the third R. And the new bank will give me, depending on what loan type you get, could be from 70 to really 80% of the value. We underwrite at 75%. So say this new property appraises for $140,000. Since I've added value through renovations, then they'll give me 75% of the new appraised value, which equals to 105. And I'm all in at 105. So in theory, this is the perfect BRRRR. I got all my money back in the form of a refinance loan that pays off my hard or private money lenders or any money I have in the deal. So that's the perfect BRRRR. That was when I started, that's what I had to do. I didn't have any money to leave in. So it will expand with your experience and with your business growth. My thought process now is that in, say, 3 to 5 years, even if I have $20,000 left in a deal, meaning the bank will give me 105, but it took me 125 to get all in, right? So I now have $20,000 more in the property than what the refi lender will give me back. So I leave 20,000 in it. So I leave 20K in the deal. In 3 to 5 years, I should be able to refinance this at a new appraised value because, Central Ohio is booming and values will go up. And then at that time, I can pull all my capital out. So that's the thought. It's just a little bit longer term, but it is absolutely still possible to find deals that make sense, just a little longer term point of view. Cool. Great question. Thank you. Let's see. To do a 1031, okay. If you guys can give StreamYard access to your Facebook, it won't say Facebook user, it will say your name. And
this is Todd Hall.
Todd Hall. Okay, great. Thank you, Todd. So if I do a 1031 and say I have 100K left in the deal, can you legally pull that money out on a refi for the next deal? Todd, I don't understand the question. If I have a 1031 and I left 100K in the deal, come back, ask this and with a example. That would be helpful. We're doing a 1031 right now, so I should be able to answer it.
While we're waiting on him, Maria said, I feel like the only homes I can afford are in sketchy neighborhoods. Should I buy there anyway?
Well, afford is relative, right? So if you're really good at raising private money, then you could afford anything. If you could go raise $10 million, And, maybe that's crazy. But if you could go raise $300,000, then you could afford something in a better neighborhood. So I would say what you can afford is relative if you know how to raise money. Should I buy there anyways? Depends on your risk tolerance, depends on, your personal kind of threshold on what you're willing to put up with. Sketchy neighborhoods. I mean, I'm not going to buy in a war zone, but I will absolutely buy in a developing neighborhood. I think that is where we are. Really, the future of Columbus is a lot of the Lindens and Hilltops and Whitehalls and kind of the up and coming. That's what I was investing in Austin. It paid off handsomely. Columbus is on a very similar path as Austin. Economically, all the statistics point there. So I'm very comfortable. I think that there's a misconception that just, these neighborhoods, like everyone's bad. And that's not the case at all. So just because someone needs to be in the affordable housing space has nothing to do with them being sketchy or anything like that. Like, we screen our residents really well as we would in A-class neighborhood, so maybe it takes a tiny bit longer to fill, but we're still having really, really great applicants, even in the affordable housing space. So yes, you should buy there. You should buy wherever you're comfortable that the deals make sense financially and where you see development coming. What else do we have?
Wendy Martin just said, would you pull equity out of property owned to buy another if rents would leave you in the negative for that property?
That is a good question. And I think it depends again on like your financial position. So, and also like how negative are we talking? Are you losing $50 a month and you're pulling out $50K where you could go buy 3 more? I probably would do that. So I'm just looking at like the trade-off, right? If you're saying, I'm going to lose $500 a month and it can get me one other property that's going to make $500 a month. I mean, it's a wash at that point. I maybe still would do that, to be honest, because now you have 2 assets that are appreciating. No, it's tricky without more context, but essentially the equity you have in the one property is powerful. And if you look at like percentages, so if you own one property and the value goes up 10%, just for the sake of math, say it is worth $100,000, goes up 10%, then you made 10K in equity. Well, what happens if you have 5 properties and everything goes up 10%, right? You've now made 50K. So it just depends. How much time do you have to commit? What are your growth goals? My goals are to buy everything I can. And I'm also pretty comfortable. I'm educated, but high leverage. I mean, we're 75% leverage for the most part. And every time someone pays the mortgage and equity goes up, that goes down, down, down. But at the refi, we're 75% leverage. So it depends. It depends. Wendy, let me know in the comments.
It's not a no.
What?
It's not a no.
It's not a no. It's absolutely not a no. It depends on what your goals are. I'm buying heavily and would potentially take a small negative cash flow if I could cash out enough equity to go and buy deals that will make up for that negative, right? And I mean, a more like reasonable scenario where I would do that would be maybe you own a property free and clear. You can pull out $150,000 and you'll cash flow negative $100 a month, but you can go buy 7 more. Yes, absolutely. I would do that all day. Those 7 maybe make $200 a door. You're making $1,400, but losing $200 all day long. Yeah, I would do that. But without like numbers tied to it, it's hard to pinpoint your situation. If you follow up in here, I'm happy to answer. What else do we have?
Todd gave a little bit better of a...
Okay, here we go.
It's long.
Yeah, okay. If would be hi, can you see me? Specifically, how might this impact the deferral of capital gains and with IRS regulations? The one we're doing now, we're using cash. We're using our 1031 proceeds from a sale of a house in Austin as our fund the gap, which the down payment on multiple more properties in Columbus. And my custodian said there's no issue refinancing after 6 months. So I don't know if that's your question. There's been nothing that I've heard about 2 years. I am not a CPA. I'm not a tax accountant. I'm not anything like that. So I would absolutely recommend speaking to like a legal professional. I am like the biggest proponent of asking questions. Like I love asking questions. I will hop on a call with anyone on my dream team anytime. I was just on with our insurance advisor the other day, just rattling off the questions. So if you don't know, you need to know who to ask. I definitely appreciate, throwing it here, but I probably am not qualified to answer that one.
We have an Instagram question.
Ooh.
Have you ever bought deals going through probate?
Yes. Yeah. So when I first got started in real estate full time, I was really wholesaling everything because I didn't have any money. So for really 2 years, I wholesaled almost everything, meaning I put something under contract direct to seller, and then I assigned that contract to another buyer. I didn't have a coach at that time, and I didn't know how to raise private money. I didn't know what hard money was. I freaking wish I would have, because I passed so many deals that were amazing deals and I gave to someone else. So during my wholesaling days, we encountered a lot of probate. It's going to take longer. There is a cost associated with it. Most title companies can connect you with a probate attorney that they kind of either have on staff if they're big enough, or work with them very closely. And for the most part, in our experience, the probate attorney will allow the seller to pay for the service out of their proceeds. So that was a benefit that we could say to a seller to, have them work with us as the buyer is, hey, Mrs. Seller, we're going to help you through this probate process. It could take months. There's going to be work that you have to do from your side. We will connect you with the attorney who can handle it all for you. And you don't have to pay them until you get paid from the sale. So that was really enticing. Remember, wholesaling is all about solving people's problems. So this was a huge way to solve someone's problem. Was that the full question?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so absolutely, probate is a fantastic lead source, because a lot of times those sellers are in a situation where they could use your expertise and use an attorney, but they don't know who to turn to.
Nice.
Here we go. Any advanced strategies to grow your portfolio quickly? The BRRRR method. That's a great question.
That's Michael Cohen.
Oh, hi, Michael. Yes, the BRRRR method is fantastic. So yes, you're financing it 2 times, but the property type, the loan types that we're using are super investor friendly. So we're usually closing the hard money loan in less than 2 weeks. We're closing a refi in less than 4 weeks, and using the same contractors, the same finishes, like it's rinse and repeat. Now, the good thing, and I know I just said that you may be leaving money in deals in today's market, which totally true. If you expand to a market outside of Columbus or outside of something that's highly competitive, you're going to be able to find more perfect BRRRR. So in that scenario, you are pulling out all of the money that you have put into the deal. That means you get the money back, right? And you can go do it again. So you may start slow, doing 1 at a time, 2 at a time. But what we like to really be, our system is to really have 1 to 2 properties in every letter of the BRRRR process at all times. So buy to have 1 or 2 under contract, renovate under construction. Obviously, rent is leasing. Refi, of course, is the loan process. And then repeat is just kind of a reset. Everyone gets paid back. You update your data management system, all that. So really, I mean, we can move the properties down in 4 to 6 months, and you can do multiple at a time. So that is my strategy to get the money back and to just do it over and over and over. Okay, so I think this was Wendy, right? So mortgage is 151 with a 350 value. Yeah, this is hard. So I don't know what it rents for. How negative cash flow would you be? We'll try one more time. I need to know what it rents for, how far negative you would be. Off the top of my head, I'd say it probably makes sense. But if you're telling me you're going to lose $1,000 a month, then it probably doesn't. If it's 100, yeah, totally different story.
This is also Wendy. To
Okay.
refi with property in single LLC, do you need personal debt to income, or is it based on the leases?
Depends on your loan type. So if you're using DSCR, its debt service coverage ratio is going to be based on the income that the property is bringing in. That's why the letters are in order. And, you notice that rent is before refinance. So a lot of these lenders will need to see that the property is occupied at market, or, it doesn't have to be market, but they're going to take whatever it's rented for into consideration in their underwriting. So to refi property in single LLC, do you need personal debt to income? Based on the leases, if you're using DSCR. Have I ever executed a bad deal? Yeah, absolutely. You'll all get a bad deal at some point. That's how you know you're an investor. So yes, absolutely. We've lost money on flips. I've gotten the ARV completely wrong in the past where, I was going to leave. This one was somewhat recent, the last 6 months. We had something that was supposed to appraise for 180 based on the comps. I just could not get the appraiser past 160. So remember, they're going to give you 75% of the appraised value. So I'm 15K less than what I can pull out. So it just, leaves more money in the deal, but it's been totally fine because I'm here for the long term. I'm here for the long term for sure. On a rehab, if you lose money, I'm just hope you have some reserves because there's not much you can do. Ideally, maybe you could not sell it and wait for the market to come up, for the price to be higher, but that was not our scenario. Yes, I've plenty of bad deals. Any large investor has. What else do we have? You guys, I don't know who any of you are.
I do.
You do? You know who they are?
Yeah. Let's see. This guy, that is Lana Kip.
Oh, Lana. Hi, Lana. At what point did you start hiring in-house staff? Who was your first hire? So I'm in the education business. Obviously, it's Miss Lizzie. On the rental side, I brought in in-house staff. Yeah. So I have Cassie. She has been on our live stream before talking all about resident screening, and she came on with me. We're coming up on 2 years. We were trying to figure out what the exact date was. We're coming up on 2 years together. She joined me when we were around 30 properties. Before I brought her on, we had property management. And if you guys haven't heard, I mean, it was a bit of a disaster, but we had property management in place on the multifamily units. And I thought I was like, okay, I'll keep managing the single families. Let me hand over the multifamilies, at least get some relief there. Cause 30 by yourself it really is a lot. And, wasn't going well with property management, brought it all back in house. At the same time, I was like, I definitely can't do this myself. So brought Cassie on, and she has been with me like thick and thin. We've really been through some stuff. So, yeah, first hire is just, she handles all of our maintenance scheduling. She handles late rents and collecting rents. Little thumbs. We work with a lot of programs as far as like rental assistance programs when people can't pay. So she handles all that. What else does she do? Oh, a lot of our leasing. That's like the big time commitment is calling the references and looking at the applications and doing all that. So if you guys want to know kind of everything that Cassie does for me and for our company, let us know in the comments and Lizzie will connect you with that live stream. She came on and kind of gave us the lowdown. So that was a good one. Thank you, Lana. That's a great question. All righty, y'all. Are there any that are pressing? Because we are right at time.
I don't see any.
All righty. Think I got everyone. Well, y'all, I'm going to the women's U.S. women's national soccer team tonight. They're playing at the Crew Stadium, and they're going for first. It's a tournament, so made it to the first place game. So that should be really exciting. Y'all root them on. We got one more. Would be short $650 a month. No, I probably wouldn't do that. That's pretty risky. $650 is a lot of negative cash flow. I guess it depends if you can take that money and go make $2,000 with your new rentals, then potentially. But overall, yeah, probably wouldn't do that. So, all righty. Well, thank y'all. Thank you, Megan. We will see you next week. What do we have next week? Prop stream?
Yes.
Yeah, we're doing prop stream, y'all. This is going to be a good one. So we will see you next week. Bye.
See ya.